Hello, my name is Brian Mull. I'm the golf columnist at the Star News, and I'm here with Billy Anderson, Director of Golf at Eagle Point Golf Club, which is the host of the 2017 Wells Fargo Championship.
Thanks, Brian. Over the next few weeks, you're going to see each individual hole at Eagle Point and what the players might face during the championship.
Sounds great. Let's get started. The first hole at Eagle Point is a 445-yard par 4. Billy, have they done anything to the first hole in preparation for the tournament?
Good question, Brian. What we did is originally the hole was 388 yards long, and obviously by tour player standards, that's probably a little more generous for them. So we added 60 yards to the first hole, which makes the bunker on the left 333 yards to reach. So that'll give the player a little easier tee shot, but a little more difficult second shot. You'll see the tour player hit hybrid 3-wood to give them a short iron to wedge to the green.
Even though there is quite a bit of slope in that green, it is a good birdie opportunity for guys right out of the gate, correct?
It is. I think you're going to see that probably be one of the easiest holes during the championship.
Very good. The second hole at Eagle Point is a 161-yard par 3. Beautiful hole, lake in front of the green, and plays a little bit downhill, but a pretty treacherous green, isn't that right, Billy?
It is, Brian. It's the shortest par 3 on the golf course. The green is very undulating, which is probably a little more out of traditional standards for tour event par 3s. I think it'll be a wonderful hole for the event.
Third hole at Eagle Point is a 461-yard par 4. Now, Billy, I know a tee was added there a couple of years back. Do you anticipate using that tee during the tournament?
The tee that we added, which makes the hole 465 yards, they will not use that tee at home.
So it's roughly a 400-yard hole from where they're going to be playing it during the tournament?
It is 400 yards. The green's undulating, which is going to be the only defense it has, and hopefully we'll get some wind.
Yeah, maybe see some guys lay back off the tee there just so they don't have that little short shot off the downslope, perhaps, to a front pin. The fourth hole is a 640-yard par 5. It's the longest hole on the golf course. Billy, what is the secret to taming the fourth hole?
So having a par 5 over 600 yards is tour standard now, maybe just one out of the 18 holes. I would think that 75% of the guys would have to lay up here depending on the prevailing wind that time of year in May. So you'll see a lot of great wedge shots. The green is very well protected with some false fronts on the back and the front of the green.
Yeah, absolutely. A deep bunker there, kind of protecting the left side, but probably only come into play if somebody was going for the green in 2 shots.
I would agree.
Hole number 5 is a 207-yard par 3. This is going to be the most difficult hole on the golf course.
It could be. Traditionally, that time of year, the wind is in your face with the prevailing wind. There's a bunker on the right side of the green. The front of the green has been reshaped to probably have every ball that hits the front of the green roll off back into the water. So it's definitely going to be challenging for the tour player.
The sixth hole is a 549-yard par 5. Billy, I know y'all did some work on this hole, not so much changing the strategic aspect of it, but more the aesthetic quality.
We did. The tee shot has a creek that runs down the left. We moved the creek a little closer to the fairway, which makes the tee shot more challenging. And also, when the tour player goes for the green, which probably 80% of them will, it's a shorter par 5 by tour standards. We moved the creek on the right-hand side closer to the green as well. So I think it's going to be an exciting hole.
A very interesting green, a lot of pin placement options there that can really challenge the player that does go for the green into if he ends up in the wrong spot.
I think it'll be our most exciting par 5 on the golf course.
Hole 7 is a 313-yard par 4, and as you can see, there is quite a bit of sand out there that the players will try to avoid off the tee.
Wonderful short par 4, shortest on the golf course. Again, potential for the tour player to drive the green. Birdies and eagles would be plentiful, I think, on this hole, depending on the prevailing wind.
Could this be a hole where the tees maybe moved up slightly one day on the weekend?
I think you could see that. Yes, absolutely.
Number 8 is a 453-yard par 4, and probably the straightest hole on the golf course.
No doubt, definitely the straightest hole on the golf course. We added 42 yards to the tee box. We added 42 yards to the entire hole to get us just over 450 yards. This hole traditionally plays into a prevailing wind as well. The fairway and your tee shot are protected by a bunker that runs all the way down the right-hand side of the fairway.
Yeah, and then once you get up around the green, a pretty severe false front on that left side. Any ball that's mishit just slightly will collect down there to the bottom.
You might see a lot of pitching and chipping there.
Number 9 is a 431-yard par 4, and I know we're not supposed to pick favorites, Billy, but I think it's about the prettiest tee shot on the entire golf course.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. The tee shot goes over the marsh to a very generous fairway. The challenge on that hole obviously would be the into the wind, prevailing wind that time of year, and then the green is very narrow, probably not more than 35 feet wide from left to right.
Kind of sets up for a right to left shot coming into it as well, doesn't it?
I couldn't agree more, yep. Prevailing wind is everything on that hole. I think it's a great finish to the front nine.
The 10th hole at Eagle Point is a 186-yard par 3. It's a beautiful hole with the Intracoastal Waterway right there in the background.
Club selection is everything, Brian. The shallow green is well guarded by 2 front bunkers and the Intercoastal behind.
And probably see some guys miss short there rather than long.
Short is definitely the place to miss it, and their short games will be tested if they're.
Number 11 is a 448-yard par 4, a sharp dogleg to the left with a beautiful 130-year-old American elm tree framing the hole right at the point of the dogleg there. And that's another hole that we've seen a change to in the last couple years in preparation for the tournament.
We did. We added a tee box that makes the hole just over 460 yards, which the left-hand bunker off the tee is 299 yards to carry. Also, it's our only dogleg on the golf course. Dogleg left, which is kind of unique, and like you said, the American elm that's over 130 years old really makes the hole.
The 12th hole is a 562-yard par 5 that should offer some real excitement.
One of the widest fairways on the golf course. Most of the players, I think, can get to this 1 and 2. It's par 5 and 2 because it'll be downwind. We have a very undulating green to protect with water that surrounds all on the front and the right side. It should definitely be an exciting hole for the fan.
And it's another hole where Fazio did such a great job designing the golf course, because even if you have the length to maybe be pin high and 2 there, it's no guaranteed up and down for birdie.
It's not.
The 13th hole at Eagle Point is a 423-yard par 4, slight dogleg to the right, and another hole where we've seen some changes in recent years, right, Billy?
We did add 50 yards to this tee box as well. Although it's 425, which is maybe below average for tour standard, the tee shot is demanding. There's water that's 280 yards down the right-hand side of the fairway, so it'll definitely be challenging for them.
Yeah, and a bunker that maybe some of the medium-length hitters may not be able to carry depending on the wind direction, and then another green that has quite a bit of undulation.
It does. It's protected by chipping area to the left side of the green and a very deep bunker in the front.
The 14th is a 462-yard par 4, and this is kind of where Eagle Point bears its teeth a little bit. You generally play these last stretch of holes into the wind.
More times than not, the prevailing wind is in your face here. 462 yards, challenging tee shot. Bunker on the left is about 295 yards to carry, and then there's a bunker on the right that's probably 320 to get into. So he's going to have to place the tee shot correctly in order to hit a green that's probably one of our longest greens from front to back. Long
green with a lot of slope in it from left to right. Fairway bunker you were talking about on the right is almost a one-shot penalty if you get underneath the face there.
I would agree.
15th hole at Eagle Point is a 223-yard par 3 and the longest par 3 on the golf course.
The front of the green is open. We have 2 bunkers on the right and left, so there is a bailout area if necessary for the player. But traditionally, I think the green being wide the pins will be pretty accessible in the hole.
The 16th hole at Eagle Point is a 448-yard par 4. It's a narrow tee shot when you stand on that box, correct, Billy?
It is the narrowest tee shot on the golf course. Tree lined on both sides, no fairway bunkers, to a very undulating green that's 50 yards deep from front to back.
And this is another green where we're going to see some interesting hole locations the tour staff will certainly have available to them. And the front left there's got a little bit of a Donald Ross Pinehurst feel with some false front. The 17th at Eagle Point is a 414-yard par 4. And perhaps the signature hole on the golf course, certainly another absolutely gorgeous tee shot.
I would agree. We also widened the creek on the left side to maybe entice a few balls to get in the water to create a little drama. The bunkers on the right are no easy par because the green is 2-tiered with a false front on the right side.
Probably a driver and a short to mid-iron for most tour players, you would say.
I would agree.
Number 18 is a 580-yard par 5 and certain to be a hole to be remembered in the Wells Fargo Championship. Plenty of opportunities for drama around the green.
I think you'll see a lot of birdies and eagles on this hole. The tee shots a little downhill, but into the wind. Most of the players will be able to get to this green in two because of the downhill. And the green is guarded by water all down the right-hand side, so you could see some excitement as well.